In the 39th episode of the American Reveille Podcast, we discuss a hypothetical Biden-Harris administration's actions within their first month of office, from opening our borders to funding Planned Parenthood and even reinstating the racist teachings of critical race theory. A Biden-Harris administration would plunge the United States into an actual dark winter. Rest assured, this election is not over. As widespread corruption and election fraud bubble their way to the surface, this president shall have his day in court. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 39th episode of the American Reveille Podcast, and we are just one episode beyond the Thunderdome. I figure we may as well start using post-apocalyptic movie terms, being as we're teeter-tottering on the celestial seesaw of oblivion while waiting for the Democrats to stop pretending Biden won the election. Well, folks, happy Monday. For everyone out there busting their ass in the real world while the left plays make-believe with the sad, unfortunate, and disenfranchised ideologues of a corrupted movement. Unfortunately, folks, this nightmare must go on for a little bit longer. So, if Biden were to cheat and win, his first week looks absolutely terrifying. His first month looks even worse. That isn't an overstatement, ladies and gentlemen. That's an absolute fact. So, let me give you a free preview of what they want to do to our country. Here's some early executive actions from the Biden campaign. So number one, they want to begin the process to re-enter the United States into the Paris Climate Agreement. So the Paris Climate Agreement aligned a bunch of countries together with the goal of fighting global warming. And that's all fine and dandy. But when you look a little bit closer, you see that the U.S. has been getting cleaner and cleaner and cleaner without this agreement, while the rest of the world seems not to follow suit and just get polluted. So, on top of that, it would cost the United States $3 trillion, as Dr. Evil would say, $3 trillion in lost GDP, and 6.5 million people would lose their job. Trump canceled that. He fixed that. He saved those jobs. Biden plans to flush 6.5 million jobs right down the toilet just to cater to his foreign beneficiaries and his social justice warriors. Let's just keep going down the list for a second here. Number two, he would most likely begin implementing the framework for a clean energy revolution. So, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Oklahoma, Texas, all those oil jobs will just start going away. Fracking will just start going away. Just imagine how horrible it's going to feel when some 20-year-old kid's laughing at you, humiliating you, just pointing at you, berating you for not knowing how to code because you worked an honest blue-collar job. Leftists call this environmental justice, maybe? What are you going to do when they call you to the Truth and Reconciliation panel because you were okay with hurting poor Mother Earth because you weren't the best of friends with the naked mole rat or the worm from the movie Tremors as you drilled deep into the earth to fuel our society, folks in Pennsylvania? You think these people are just going to stop now? You realize that some people did vote for this, right? There's a ton of fraud that's going on, and it's going to get fought out in the courts. But there's still a large portion of dumb, ill-informed Americans that literally voted for their own bloody demise. You're going to love this one. Number three, he wants to eliminate the limits on international student visas. So, basically, if you're in another country, say Iran, after Biden opens our borders to them, say you're from Iran, and let's just say you hate America. Let's just say you hate it so much you want to come down here, earn your degree, say, in women's studies or transgender studies, perhaps, and now you want to, I don't know, commit some horrible act you would only expect to see nowadays maybe in the EU. Well, screw it. We don't want to offend anyone, so let's just let everybody in. Come on. Why not? I mean, they aren't always mean. Excuse me. We can solve this with love, with Care Bears. I hope you guys can detect my sarcasm at this point. Again, dumb people, stupid people, ignorant people voted for these shenanigans, so we don't have time to read every one of them because there's tons of them. But I'm seeing this in the financial services section of this Biden plan here. Appoint diverse candidates to key economic positions such as the Treasury Department. What do you know? There's no talk of qualification, by the way. Remember, it's not about qualification in a socialist autocracy. It's about checking the right boxes and the right social justice boxes, to be exact. That's so much more important than, say, going into the Great Depression 2.0 to these Democrats. Also, don't think for 1 second, folks, that Joe Biden isn't just some racist old white guy that sees an opportunity to keep his family in a position of power and authority long after he's dead, okay? And don't think that he wouldn't have the balls to appoint Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren as the first Native American Secretary of Treasury and say it with a straight face, that is. If he can spit the words out properly, I'll give him a gold star for not having dementia for that day. Remember, people voted for this next Great Depression, even if some of them were dead, even if they were illegal, even if they were children. Let me make this crystal clear. Illegal aliens are not entitled to free health care or even paid health care. They're not entitled to a driver's license, a passport, or even a Costco card. They're non-citizens committing a crime. I don't care about your white guilt or sad heart. The law is the law. And you know what this means? Come close. Come really close. I'm going to tell you. It means they have no right to vote in our damn elections. Okay? Maybe one day there'll be a path to citizenship. And, you know, there should be. Many of us argue there should be. But right now, if they're illegal, they don't have the damn right to vote. Oh, hold on. Goody. Let's move to foreign policy before I blow a head gasket here. 5, terminate the ban against travel to the U.S. by individuals from Muslim-majority countries. Oh, good, great. First of all, what the hell ever happened to COVID-19? I saw thousands of the idiots on the left voting for this stuff, dancing in the streets across a dozen Democrat cities, dancing for their own self-destruction, for their own demise, with no mention of COVID. So all of a sudden it's cool? Of course it's cool, right? We've always known that the media was using the coronavirus for this crap. And what China most likely engineered it for, so why not? Let's just be like France. Let me ask you, though, a serious question. Let me ask you, are you prepared? Are you prepared to wake up for work one morning, turn on the television, or look at your phone and just see that multiple people across the United States may have been decapitated for, say, offending radical Islam? Are you prepared for Joe Biden to apologize to radical Islamists? Are you prepared to be punished for offending them in the first place? This isn't classified information. This is known. People voted for this. And apparently, at least some people think this is a good idea. People like Ilhan Omar think this is a good idea. Number 6. Rejoin the World Health Organization and reaffirm position in NATO and the United Nations. So right now, as of this very moment, we are in a position where these organizations aren't taking advantage of us. Trump did that for us, folks. He made us strong again. He made us energy independent again. He saved lives when the World Health Organization was worried more about social justice and people's feelings. You remember? You remember when the World Health Organization lied to us and sided with China when all of this COVID crap first happened? In fact, mysteriously, all of these organizations seem to side with China, who has business dealings with the Communist Party. Let me ask you that question. Who has business dealings with the Communist Party? Well, Joe and Hunter Biden, of course. So why wouldn't we rejoin these corrupt organizations that rape the pocketbook of American citizens through their taxes and line the pockets of these corrupt and dirty, deep swamp rat politicians? We don't need them. We really don't. 7, he says he's going to enforce a national mask mandate. Now, I know people keep saying that he doesn't have the power. And while Biden can't order a mask mandate, he has apparently found a loophole. So according to John Bowden of The Hill, Joe Biden, and I'm not going to call him president-elect like it does in this damn article, the mainstream media does not pick the president of the United States. There is no choice at this moment. There is an ongoing election taking place. But anyway, Joe Biden will personally call on governors around the country to enact a mask mandate in their state once he takes office next year. NBC News first reported this on Sunday. A Biden campaign official told the network that governors who resist the incoming presidential requests will see Biden pressure mayors of their cities in their respective states to enact mandates at the local level, potentially setting him up for confrontations with Republican governors around the United States. So he's basically just going to usurp the checks and balances and pressure the governors and the mayors in the same way he basically pressured the Ukrainians to fire the prosecutor investigating Burisma. Again, great job, people who voted for this. Great job. You're so dumb. If you voted for this, you're so dumb. God, looking down the line, guys. 8, they're going to restore funding to Planned Parenthood. So I want to talk about a misconception around Planned Parenthood. And they talk about it like it's some great place where a woman can go to be safe. And look, I'm sure in some cases, I'm sure there's women that they do help, all right? The fact is, though, that Planned Parenthood is not just some safe place where you can score contraceptive at 16. No, they've become an abortion factory, an absolute abomination of an abortion factory that sells baby parts, that pushes late-term, third-term, after-birth abortions, that offers hormone therapy to young, confused individuals under the age of 18. They contribute heavily to teenage and youth suicide and abuse. This organization keeps low-income families in what the Democrats consider their rightful place, the modern ghetto, better known as one of the Democrat vote-generating machines of our time. So, folks, I'm not kidding with you. I'm not joking. I mean, I know I'm extremely funny, and I know I'm a little bit handsome, but I'm telling you, this is Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. This is just some of their agenda, and I'm not done. There's more. You need to know this stuff, folks. You have to know what the Democrats voted for, what they actually voted for. You need to know what they are defending when they laugh at you because they think Trump lost and want to rub your nose in dog poop. And you need to know what they're protecting when they call you some horrible name that's lost its meaning, like racist or supremacist or Nazi with no basis. Whether they realize it or not, the people who stayed loyal to the left are all being driven on a bus with no brakes straight into the Twilight Zone. You ever see that movie Speed with Keanu Reeves from the 90s? Well, there's a bomb on the bus, folks, and now we have to stay above 50 miles an hour or whatever it was. The bus is going to explode. Congratulations, lefties. I don't know how this ends without some sort of eruption or violent conclusion, and I hope it doesn't come to that. But I'm sorry, a Biden presidency is just not an acceptable conclusion for my half of this country. Knowing that he cheated, it is not acceptable. We aren't stupid. We're not going to concede. We're not just going to go along with it. We aren't ignorant. We aren't ill-informed. If you need to know who that may be, if you're a Democrat and wonder who the ill-informed, brainwashed minions of autocracy are, you need only look in a mirror. Folks, with that being said, we need to take a short break, and if you're watching this on YouTube, please go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, please follow me, please leave a review if you listen on Apple Podcasts, folks. I really need those reviews, guys. They allow more people to see my podcast. That's just how Apple works. They have some algorithm or something, and of course, I'm on most social media platforms, but the best place to find me, without any censorship, without any filter, is on Parler. Just click the link in the description section and hit the follow and subscribe button. And just doing one of those things I mentioned, liking, sharing, subscribing, any one of these things is a huge part of this ideological struggle because it helps to spread our message, further emboldening and encouraging the right. So I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in a few minutes.
The American Reveille Podcast with James Lane would like to take a moment to thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to tune into the show. It's because of great fans like you that we strive to deliver the best quality content one can create as fast as one can fling the pen. With that being said, a good little boy never misses his opportunity to sell himself, and though James would never ask you for your money, he would like to let you know that if you absolutely love this podcast, the writing, the art, its production, anything, please do us the personal favor of liking, sharing, tweeting, texting, and talking about this podcast. James Lane is a father, a husband, a U.S. Navy veteran, and is personally committed to the success of the American Reveille Podcast. Please email James Lane directly at podcast@AmericanReveille.com, or please visit our website at www.AmericanReveille.com. Now, let's get back to the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 39th episode of the American Reveille Podcast. I, of course, am James Lane, and this episode is entitled, If Trump Fails and the Supreme Court Allows Joe Biden to Become President, Here is his first month in office. Well, before we get back to the rest of this little list of horrors, this list that feels like a destroy the middle class checklist, I want to say that I didn't believe Joe Biden is ever going to make it. I don't believe he's ever going to make it to inauguration. No, I don't think Kamala will either. Pelosi and her, no, none of them will. Do you know who's going to make it to inauguration? Do you know who's going to be the next president of the United States? It's the same president who's president right now. He's going to be actually found to be reelected, and he will be sworn in January. That's just how it's going to go. All right. He's going to be elected, and the left is going to go into shock, and they're going to implode. How do I know this? Well, besides being a strategist at heart, I'd like to present an article to you from the Epoch Times, however you like to say it. I like Epoch Times. It's hot off the press, all right, guys? It's by Peter Schwab, or Svab, however you say that. But Peter has something very interesting to say, so I want to read this for a second. Quote, statistical anomalies in Biden votes analyses indicate, all right? Quote, With the 2020 elections marred by legal challenges and fraud allegations, some have used statistical analysis to try to determine if foul play was involved. In several states, analysis of election data indeed. Hold on one second. Let me go back there. Sorry, guys. With the 2020 elections marred by legal challenges and fraud allegations, some have used statistical analysis to try to determine if foul play was involved. That's better. Missed the period. In several states, analysis of election data indeed shows statistically odd phenomena in the tallies of votes for the Democratic candidate, former Vice President Joe Biden. One of the most common arguments is that in some localities, vote counts for Biden violate Benford's law. All right, folks, I'm forewarning you. We're going to get a little bit mathy for just a moment, so take a little bit of a deep breath. You ready? In simple terms, the law states that in many real-world data sets, such as demographic data, geographical data, or even sports data, the first digit of the numbers will more likely be 1 than 2, and 2 will be more likely than 3, and this will follow a logarithmic scale. If the first digit distribution significantly diverges from the rule, it could be evidence of artificial manipulation of data. Let me translate this, folks. This means that patterns exist in the laws of mathematics that Biden vote counts repeatedly violate and break. They're breaking a law in mathematics. This means that something is causing an error in the equation. The equation's never wrong, only the numbers that are plugged into it. This means that something is super smelly, stinky fishy with the vote counts all over this country, especially in battleground states. Let's keep reading about Benford's law, folks. Quote, the law has been used to identify fraudulent financial records and other illegal activities. Walter Mebane, a political science professor at the University of Michigan, used the law to back ballot stuffing allegations in the 2009 Iran election. Some researchers also used the law to check for irregularities in the 2016 election in Wisconsin. One GitHub user posted an analysis of the 2020 election results in Fulton County, Georgia, Miami-Dade, Florida, Milwaukee, Chicago, and Allegheny County, Pennsylvania. While the result in Georgia and Florida generally adhered to Benford's law, there were significant deviations in Biden's votes in Wisconsin, Illinois, and Pennsylvania. Oh boy, oh boy. One Twitter user went deeper on the Milwaukee analysis and found that in many cities, votes counted after 3 a.m. on November 4th went to Biden by a much larger margin than those counted before. Sometimes the difference was as high as 40 percentage points. Another internet sleuth noticed that in Pennsylvania, nearly 10,000 votes were removed from President Trump's count around 9 p.m. November 4th. That's kind of weird. Then around 9 a.m. on November 6th, more than 27,000 votes were added to the count, most of them going straight to Biden. And folks, this gets so much worse. This is just one of the most blatant things I've ever seen. There's no logical possibility that this could happen, especially knowing that ballots are supposed to be sealed. Remember, just before when I read the part about votes statistically appearing in the mathematics late at night and early in the morning, I want you to check this out. Quote, around 5 a.m. on November 4th, data from Decision Desk HQ updated the vote count for Michigan, adding 339,000 votes to Biden, but 0 to Trump. 0. That is a statistical impossibility, at least for the most part. How do you... This has caused people to really speculate that votes were just illegally injected in the tally. There's no other way to explain it. Look, a bunch of people started complaining when this happened, guys, so let me keep reading. Within 40 minutes, Decision Desk HQ posted another update. That's weird. subtracted 110,796 votes from Biden's total and added 16,638 to Trump's. That's weird. It later said a clerical error in Shiawassee County Shiawassee County caused the distribution of incorrect data and has since been fixed. There we go. Then at 6:18 a.m., the firm posted another update, which added 158,902 votes to Biden tally and 29,295 votes to Trump's tally. Those votes split roughly 85% to Biden, which is exceptionally high ratio. It's an exceptionally high ratio. It's very hard to explain. What do I think? Well, I think the software glitches we keep hearing about that are messing up votes across multiple states, the ones that will end up becoming a huge deal in court most likely, I believe some of it has to do with Dominion. I believe that's what it's called. I truly believe, as somebody that's worked in technology for a long time, besides not being in the military anymore, somebody that worked in technology for a long time, I really believe that you can probably manipulate vote counts with the software. Why couldn't you? Do I look stupid? Do I look like I was born yesterday? I wasn't. And if you're listening, I'm going to assume that you weren't either. Here's what happened. Someone screwed up Office Space style and put the 0 in the wrong spot in the software. People freaked out, and rightfully so. 140,000 votes to Biden and 0 to Trump. I mean, that has to be impossible, like I said before, or at least near impossible. So they fixed the error. They panicked and they fixed it. But then they came back a little bit later and they tried to make the split seem a little more realistic. Really shady, shisty, con artist, wool over your eyes, Houdini level BS. The only problem for them is that it was executed by idiots. All of this is about to come out in court. All of this and then some. All of this and then a hell of a lot of then some. So let's keep looking at what happens if Biden cheats the courts and becomes president. So let's keep looking at what would happen if Biden cheated the courts and became the president. Let's keep looking at his first month. And if I remember correctly, we just did number 8, which was the hypothetical Biden-Harris administration restoring Planned Parenthood funding to Obama-era levels and beyond. They have a plan to fund it even more. We talked about the problems that this causes to low-income communities. We did previously. So let's get on to the next one. And anyway, number 9. So he would officially end funding to the border wall. Biden wants to defund and most likely remove parts of our newly constructed southern border wall. And this wall's helped severely limit cartels, traffickers, gangs like MS-13 and aided Border Patrol in many of the 266,000 arrests they've made in the last 2 years. I'm getting this information directly from whitehouse.gov, by the way, so don't think for a second I'm making this stuff up. Of the 266,000 arrests, this includes illegal aliens convicted of over 100,000 assaults, 30,000 sex crimes, and 4,000 murders. Let me say this again. Biden wants to stop the capture and prosecution, and don't tell me he didn't say that. It's coming. He'll get rid of the wall, and then we'll go to some open border crap in this country. It'll be like Open Lines Friday on a radio show. Hey, thanks for calling Open Lines Friday. And you know how dumb that can be? It really can be dumb when you do an Open Lines Friday. It'll be just like that. We can call it Open Border Friday, but then the left will just come and say some crazy crap like they always do. They'll be like, oh, Friday can identify as any day. Saying that Friday means only Friday is closed-minded and bigoted. Oh, all right. Anyway, I'm just being facetious. Listen, one more time. That's 100,000 assaults, 30,000 sex crimes, rape. That really horrible thing that happens called rape, sexual assault. 4,000 murders, dead, deceased, muerto. Democrats voted for this. Are you okay with that? I'm not okay with that. Do you want to know what this wall stops, folks? The wall that Trump's been building, it stops sex traffickers, human sex traffickers. And I'm all about stopping human sex traffickers. And if that means build a double wall, build a triple wall, build an electric fence that burns the flesh off of people that cross it, go for it. I'm all in. Go find a hardworking legal immigrant. Ask them about this. Ask them how they feel about the border. Go find one. They'll tell you they want a wall too. Let's see. Number 10, guys. Ending family separation at the border. And I know that sounds nice to some people, but do you know why they separate families at the border? Do you have any idea why some of these kids aren't united with their parents? They aren't united with their parents because the people that brought them across the border weren't their parents in the first place. Again, the kids didn't come here with parents, or their parents were criminally conducting illegal activity. I'm not talking hopscotching the parking lot in front of a no loitering sign, folks. I'm talking about drug dealers, drug mules, murderers, rapists, career criminals, human traffickers. Do you really want those kids back with their parents so they can be abused, used, molested, maybe killed, maybe trafficked, worse than killed? That's what Democrats are voting for. That's what they're voting for, guys. The other ones that don't have parents, they're probably with traffickers, kidnappers, criminals using them to exploit money out of people. Tell me, how do you find their parents in Guatemala or Honduras or Belize or Colombia? How do you find them? Do you know? You want the short and sweet answer? I got it for you, and you're not going to like it. You don't find them. That's why there's a facility at the border with 500 kids in it, because no matter how hard we try, we can't find their parents, and we're trying to figure out what to do to give them a good life. So stop talking trash about Trump with that. I'm sick of that stuff. Anyway, look. The kids are separated for their safety, plain and simple. Those cages that Obama built, they're probably the safest place in the entire facility for them, all right? So I've been saving this last one, by the way, and not like we're infuriated enough, but this last one's really infuriating. It really, truly is. And you've got to try and not let it emotionally affect you, but it truly is at the core of the spread of this wicked, twisted, demented, socialist, left-wing ideology that's poisoning the entire Democrat Party and a bunch of their low-information voters as well. And that's number 11. Biden's going to reinstate critical race theory training and seminars for all federal employees. And here's what'll happen, folks. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, along with the power-hungry Democrats, will just keep drilling critical race theory into our culture and lives until all of our children are racists. Am I exaggerating? I don't think so. With the way ideas spread on the social media and how kids are just glued to it, I really don't think so. What's critical race theory? Critical race theory is that wild theory that comes straight out of the Marxist handbook, just right out of the Marxist handbook. It looks at society and culture and categorizes classes of individuals as oppressed and oppressors, regardless of the individual's personal feelings or their inner dialogue. If the category is racist, the person's just racist. That's how you explain white people yelling at black police officers about being racist pigs. It makes sense to these people through the lens of critical race theory, which is absolutely, certifiably, and understandably insane. It's unproven, and it's devastating. It's a devastating ideology to teach anybody, nonetheless our children. It should be banished from the earth, placed somewhere in an ark or a Pandora's box and buried away for eternity. Let me spell it out for you. Critical race theory, by all standard definitions, itself is actually racist. And everyone on the left practicing it and preaching it, they are bigots. All of them. That is what Democrats voted for. Bigotry and supremacy, all the while pointing a hypocritical finger right at us for the crimes they themselves were committing. Folks, this is scary stuff. And we're just going to have to mull through it. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to tell you, I'm extremely thankful that President Trump and his extensive legal team have mountains of evidence of voter fraud, which will find its way, mysteriously or not mysteriously, all the way to the Supreme Court, and if necessary, straight to the desk of the notorious ACB. I have no doubt that Amy Coney Barrett will make the right decision for this country in terms of who gets to be the next president, if need be. Look, Trump's a fantastic 4D chess player, and I'm certain he saved the Insurrection Act for just an occasion such as this. And in the next few weeks, the left is literally going to explode, and many people may not accept the court's decision or the Congress's decision. The Insurrection Act may really be the only thing that stops a civil war at that point. And at the end of the day, though all of this is necessary, regardless of the civil unrest, the constitutional process must be protected. The legitimacy of the free world must be maintained. The only way that happens is through the re-election of President Donald J. Trump. Plain and simple. So, folks, if you enjoyed this episode, if you feel like I brought some value into your life, some comfort, if you feel like being a part of what we're doing, you can always check out our stuff on the website at www.americanreveille.com. That's REVEILLE, and donate any amount by clicking donate on the menu bar. Obviously, you don't have to donate, but it's greatly appreciated and directly improves this podcast. You can do other things that make a big difference as well, such as liking this episode, such as sharing this episode, rating and reviewing this episode, and please subscribing to my channel. No matter how you listen to the show, all I ask of you is that you talk about this podcast, is that you spread the word. I can't make a difference without you guys. We're all holding the line together. That's the beauty of it. We're all together in this. And any feedback, by the way, is greatly appreciated. Guys, you can reach me directly at jameslane@americanreveille.com. And for any questions, feedback, or offers, I mean, we always need writers. I'm always looking for people with special talents. Again, send me an email if you think you have something to offer. jameslane@americanreveille, that's REVEILLE.com. Guys, I really appreciate your time. You're all awesome. Keep tough. Keep the faith. I'll see you next time. Cheers.